So is the Integrity Commission biased? And why is there so much controversy? What an institution can attract controversy, man. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Dionne Jackson Miller. I have to shake my head when I talk about the Integrity Commission because, as I said, there is just so much going on with this one organization. And there's a whole heap to talk about. Too much for one video, I'm going to have to do like a whole series like you drop on Netflix, Tune in next time when we talk about statutory declarations. Or tune in next time when we talk about the illicit however much people, All right, fun and joke aside, the point I'm making is that there really is a whole lot going on with it. And I know people want me to talk about some of those other issues, which I will, the statutory declarations, the illicit whatever. But the thing is, at the heart right now of a lot of the controversy, and that relates to some of those other issues with the statutory declarations of the Prime Minister, for instance, as well as the investigation into illicit enrichment that, people have decided to start calling illicit however many people. At the heart of all of that is one big controversy over the so-called gag clause. What that means, that's what I'm talking about in this video and what we need to do about it. Before that though, here's to give you an idea of the public perception of the Integrity Commission. Here's some of what people have been saying about it. So you have, for instance, Siobhan saying, misunderstood perhaps and needed entity, but needs to be refined some more. Fireside says the IC Integrity Commission is a critically important institution that's needed to curb corruption, challenge and put a check on unaccountable power in Jamaica. And Christoph says it's been compromised, in my opinion, seems to have been infiltrated by partisan politics. A partial shake-up is needed to resettle the organization. Now, actually, I'm probably wrong when I say I can't think of another institution that has attracted this much controversy. Because I think the Office of the Contractor General, especially when it was headed by former Contractor General Greg Christie, was way up there. And just to remind you, the Office of the Contractor General was one of the offices that was subsumed into the current Integrity Commission. So very, very quickly, just so we know where we are, the Integrity Commission was established in 2017 by the Integrity Commission Act. Became operational in February 2018. And what happened is that you used to have 3 different organizations that dealt with corruption, and they brought all of them into one organization now called the Integrity Commission. So you used to have the Commission for Prevention of Corruption, you used to have the Integrity Commission that dealt with Parliament, and then you had the Office of the Contractor General. So because all of those offices now were brought into the Integrity Commission, you have one big organization. It focuses mainly on corruption issues as well as the award of government contracts. So what happened is that the Contractor General's office always used to announce when they had started an investigation into a particular matter. Here's an example, this investigation into the award of government contracts by the St. Catherine Parish Council. So if former Contractor General Greg Christie was investigating something, then we would know when the investigation started. There'd be a lot of talk and speculation right up to the time of the tabling and the release of the report and whatever it is that report said. So the politicians decided when they set up the Integrity Commission to put a stop to all of that. And they did it with the so-called gag clause, or what some people have called the Christie clause after Greg Christie, because people think it's because of how Mr. Christie used to run the Office of the Contractor General, why the politicians went so far in the other direction now by clamping down on the release of information. What that mean? Here is a famous gag clause in the Act. So what it says is that until the tabling of a report in Parliament under Section 36, all matters under investigation shall be kept confidential and no report or public statement shall be made by the Commission or any other person in relation to the investigation. And when they talk about Section 36, Section 36 just tells you the kind of reports that the Integrity Commission can issue. So Parliament, for instance, can ask the Integrity Commission to investigate an act of corruption, and that report, therefore, would be one of the reports the Commission releases. The Commission also sends out the annual report, or it can investigate anything, basically, and write a report on that. So basically, this gag clause that prohibits anybody talking about any report until it's been tabled applies to all reports coming out from the Integrity Commission. So the Integrity Commission or anybody else can't talk about any report, any investigation, until the report has been tabled in Parliament. So we can't hear what is being investigated. We can't hear where an investigation reached. We can't hear when an investigation soon done. We can't hear what particular report has been sent to Parliament. The Integrity Commission frequently sends out this kind of statement. They say they've submitted a report to Parliament. We don't know what the report is about, all right? They tell us the date and time they submitted it. They tell us who the report was sent to. And they say they hope it will be tabled soon. So as I mentioned, whole heap of controversy over this gag clause. Some people think it's fair. For instance, look at this letter to the Observer by Tanya Hilton. She says the role of the Commission is to conduct impartial and thorough investigations. She says rushing to name people before the investigations are complete could taint the entire process, possibly leading to compromised outcomes and further eroding trust. And Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says just saying that an investigation has started brings into question, is something wrong? And even if it's shown eventually that nothing is wrong or there was no misconduct, he said a person's reputation is still tainted. All right, so that's on one side. On the other side is a whole set of views that the gag clause needs to be done away with. The Integrity Commission has spoken on this repeatedly. So they say we need to change the gag clause. They say it's inconsistent with the objective of transparency in how the Commission is supposed to work. They said the Commissioner should have the option of reporting in general terms the stage of an investigation where it reached without commenting specifically on the individuals being investigated or what they're being investigated for. Now, you need to remember that. That's important. So the Integrity Commission is not, the argument they're making, is not necessarily say you must name everybody being investigated. They say they should be able to give the public some general information on the progress and conduct of an investigation. Because what is happening is that the politicians are arguing in favor of the gag clause, saying we need to protect people's reputation. Of course, I really mean their reputation, but that's all right. They have a right to speak up for their own reputation. But some of the recommendations for reform do take into account that argument about whether or not you're going to damage somebody's reputation, and whether or not if you call people name everybody, you're going to think them a thief, even when the report later comes out and said no, them are not thief. People going to still think. So that is a concern, all right? So the Integrity Commission says keeping the gag clause in place is against the public interest and the public good. And they say, seeing that Jamaica is already believed to be highly corrupt, what this gag clause does is to undermine public confidence and trust in the country's institutions and leaders. And they say corruption loathes transparency. It thrives in the dark. Now, importantly, they say, look, they don't know of any other similar gag clause that is imposed on any other law enforcement agency in Jamaica. And they said, therefore, they believe the gag clause should be cause for significant public alarm and concern. They said just the fact that they are, if they announce, just by itself, that they are starting an investigation, that does not undermine the presumption of innocence. And they say, logically, the argument now makes sense, because they say a lot of the time they are investigating an allegation that is already in the public domain. So they say a lot of times the information is already out there. All they want to say is that we have started an investigation into this particular matter, and the gag clause doesn't allow them to do that. Jamaica's civil society groups are strongly against the gag clause. We've had a lot of them speaking out. The church organizations have even spoken out. The Advocates Network, National Integrity Action, the anti-corruption watchdog agency, says the gag clause creates an inconsistency in how law enforcement agencies can behave. They say every other law enforcement agency has that discretion to say, look, we're starting an investigation in a particular issue, especially when they might need information from the public. And they give an example. They said the Gleaner in 2019 reported that the police commissioner had said that former Education Minister Roel Reid was being investigated by the police and the Financial Investigations Division. And this was actually 5 months before he was arrested. And the National Integrity Action is saying if it was the Integrity Commission investigating him, they couldn't have said that. They couldn't have said anything. And therefore, if it is that the public had information that could help the investigation, the public wouldn't know to come forward. And that is what basically happens with the Integrity Commission investigations. People don't know an investigation is taking place, so they may have information and don't even know that they should hand it over. Jamaicans for Justice as well has called for the gag clause to be repealed. They say it's not in the public interest, but bear in mind that the executive director, Michael Jackson, has said she actually also believes that individuals shouldn't be publicly named, but she does raise the concern that there is a committee in Parliament that gives oversight to the work of the Integrity Commission. And she's saying, as it now stands, it could be that the Integrity Commission is investigating a member of that committee and we don't even know, and that can't right. Okay, so having said all of that, what do I think? So first of all, I do have sympathy for this idea of people's reputation and people's concern. You know, once you put somebody's name out there that you're investigating them, their reputation is going to be damaged, because we know how people are. We've seen how people are, for instance, on social media, coming sometime like I heard a mongrel dog, I try tear down somebody and kill them, honestly. So we know the concern. I appreciate that concern. My difficulty is that there have been thoughtful suggestions put forward. I shared some of them with you a little bit earlier on how to how to take away the gag clause, how to get rid of the gag clause, but at the same time maintain a balance between unnecessarily naming people where you don't need to, and allowing the agency discretion to do so where it thinks it's justified and in the public interest. And the problem as well is that politicians on both sides just seem so resistant to this idea of repealing the gag clause, and I don't think it's a good look, because one of the problems as well is this double standard. We must be concerned about that. No other law enforcement agency has this gag clause. No other law enforcement agency is prevented from updating the public, giving the public information they need to know. And of course, the only logical reason for that is that the Integrity Commission deals a lot with politicians. So they put this gag clause into the law to protect themselves in a way that other members of the public aren't affected in other kinds of situations. And it's even more concerning given the months that we have spent arguing when Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliette Holness decided that she was going to delay tabling some Integrity Commission reports as well as some Auditor General reports. Now she seems to have backed down on that. You know, the Integrity Commission reports now seem to be tabled pretty quickly. We did have a situation in February where one was delayed for a week and a half, and people had to speak out. My point is, this is a concern. It's something that happened. It can happen again. And the danger is that you could be in a situation where reports of the Integrity Commission have been sent to Parliament, have not been tabled, and we don't even know which reports because the Integrity Commission cannot tell us. So yes, we absolutely need to reform this clause. We can discuss how we're going about doing it, how exactly we want it to operate, but it needs reform. I know you guys want me to talk about other issues, the statutory declarations of the Prime Minister, the investigation into illicit enrichment, but a lot of the controversy around those issues as well, relates to this controversy about the gag clause. So I had to deal with this first. All right. So stay tuned. Other videos on those other subjects coming, all right? In the meantime, make sure you tell me what you think about the video as well as the Integrity Commission. Comment below. Really love the conversations and how engaged all of you are. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Dionne. I'll see you next time.